Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host, Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, and the day before this episode will be published. But first, we actually have some Patreons to thank. Our first ever shout-outs to supporters of this podcast. And we are very excited and grateful to be able to say that we are supported by more than just our mom and or grandma. This is our last episode of 2024, and we are also going to call this a wrap on our first season of this show. When we come back in 2025, we will be starting Season 2 of Used to Sew. We're already planning some great content for you over the northern winter as the sun comes back, and hopefully we see this little project pick up some steam as the light returns to our hemisphere. For now, to close out the year, we are going to talk about anti-shopping and aspirational hoarding. Put it in the box. Release the old energy of things that are dragging down your creativity. Make space for new projects in the coming year, and remember to stay threaded.
Well, this is like the end of our first season. This is TR, the old one. I'm still down here in Yuma, Arizona, waiting out the winter. Radia's up there in Oregon, toughing it out. Of course, she was born up there. It's like a salmon. It's embedded. Yeah, I must go where there's rain.
I am a rock. I must grow moss. It is my duty.
Me, on the other hand, I was born within sight of the Pacific Ocean, Marina del Rey at summer solstice. We're talking sun, surf, palm trees. So yeah, of course, I got to come back down here to La Frontera, the borderland, Yuma, Arizona, right next to Mexico. And of course, I bring sewing machines. But of course, I've brought my little Christmas display because there is not a Christmas tree within 100 miles. We decorate a cactus. Yeah, it's good.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
First off, Radia, let's thank our Patreons. You go ahead and do that. Or we'll do that together.
Yes.
But you tell me who they are. There's Fomer Jane and my mom. And Dennis.
Yeah, we have actual Patreons to thank, and it's time for us to do a shout out. We are very, very grateful to you for joining us in our first season of creating content. One of them is, yes, Mom's mom, my grandma, Sharon. Thank you very much, Grandma, for supporting us. Of course, you are one of our very first patrons, naturally. And then, yeah, Mom and I are actually our own patrons because we both wanted to test the waters. So it makes the patron look cool that we have multiple patrons. But technically, that's us. But we have an actual non-matrilineal patron, Dennis O'Connor.
Yeah,
Thank
buddy.
you so much for not being part of the matrilineal line and supporting this podcast. Congratulations,
Dennis,
for being that one.
Dennis is cool. Dennis is an actor, a stage actor down in Texas, and he appreciates a good story. And we appreciate his support here. And if you want to listen to this podcast without the annoying Chumba Casino ads, for as little as $1 a month on Patreon, you can support us here at Used to Sew. Keep us in bobbins and needles and stuff. And at some point, I'm going to post a video of me playing the sewing machine song on my ukulele here, which is decaled up to look like a featherweight. Yeah, baby. Black with gold decals. And that'll be next season when we deconstruct that song. But for now, thank you to our Patreons, and you can be one too. We'll give you a shout out and a sticker, I think. Radia takes care of all that stuff.
That is the plan. Yes.
Or you can keep listening. You keep listening to us just however. The fact that you're there, I asked Radia how many people there were out there and where they were, and she told me, and I'm like, oh, wow.
They're out there. There are people out there listening to us.
We could have a really large quilt class with all these people.
Yeah.
It was even the person in Sweden. Come on over. Yeah. Bring some fabric.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here in the early days before all the everyone's show up. You're the real MVP cool kids. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Please do share us. Share us with your friends. The Spreaker link, used to sew Spreaker thing. Yeah, right. Post a note thing in the show notes with just gets us to the top of the list for this one. This is what, episode 16 or 17? We started this thing.
Something like that, yeah.
We started it this summer. We're going to wind up, and you'll probably hear this after the actual day. I'm not sure. I want to talk about Boxing Day. We're talking about that we have fans all over the world. We got some in the UK, Australia, Sweden, Netherlands. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. And traditionally, I think it was when the lord and lady of the house boxed up all their old stuff and gave it to the servants and the poor. All that. I think this goes back to Victorian times. One of you guys correct me. I speak metric, but I'm not really up on Commonwealth holidays so much. But this is a call to action for you guys. This is a call to action. Everything that we've talked about this season about hoarding and unnecessary buying and planned obsolescence and fast fashion. And if you've stuck with us through all these episodes, you may have uncomfortably recognized yourself in some of those things. And what I want you to do is get a box. Boot the cat out of the box. I know Boxing Day is the feline holiday. It is like top. Get your kitty a fresh box. Good Boxing Day, my friend. So get a box. Maybe two. Maybe, you don't know. You might have some left over from Christmas or whatever. Get a box. Go in your sewing room. Start there. You may choose to continue in the whole house. I want you to take a box and go in your sewing room. And I want you to put everything in the box that you definitely want. Well, I was going to go backwards there, but let's get rid of stuff. I was going to say take out all the good stuff and then everything else goes into another box. That works for some people. Subtractive or additive subtraction. You take all the good stuff into one box. Okay, but let's start with the box as, boot out the cat, go in the sewing room. Let's attack one category first. Let's not go to fabric. That's too tough. Let's go with tapes and trims. Go to your bias tapes and your elastics. Send them to me. I love those
I see.
things.
This isn't helping people. This is helping yourself.
It's already in a box. My address is 22. Start with little stuff. I'm just going to name things off that are in my sewing room that I recently booted. Was thread and colors that I found visually disturbing. That'll vary for everybody, maybe not at all, but there's some colors that I just don't like to look at. Why am I keeping that? No, in a box. Same with bias tapes. What about that latch hook kit you never used? Oh, we're on a roll now. What about those dull, cheap scissors that aren't worth getting? In the box. Now let's go to the fabric. This is the tough one for a lot of people. I'm gonna make a quilt someday. No, you're not. If you haven't already, you're not. Put all those scraps in the box. In the box. Okay. No, the cat cannot go in there. Get the cat out.
But there's fabric in the box now. The cat must sit.
The minute you put fabric in, the cat's like, oh, there we go. Thank you, human. Okay, also, if you've got paper patterns still, now these things They sell on eBay, but do you want to take the time? No, you don't. It's worth something to somebody, but what you are getting right now, you're anti-shopping. Anti-shopping. You are getting rid of things. Instead of bringing things in, you're putting things out. You're putting things in the box. Things you know you're not going to get to. You know it in your heart. You look at that fabric. I've been carrying that for 10 years. I could make it. No, you won't. You're not going to. Don't be aspirational in your hoarding. Write this down somewhere. Do not be an aspirational hoarder. Someday no, you're not. What you have is right now. The space you have is what you have. Now, look at that fabric from 1980, that loud fuchsia, double knit rayon. You're not gonna sew in the box. Out, cat. Okay, go through your whole sewing room this way. Look at colors you don't like. Look, even half-sewn things. Now, people have told me they're afraid to get rid of something that isn't finished or isn't done well. Do you think the people at St. Vincent de Paul are judging your half-finished sewing? They don't have time for that. No. Any textile you donate gets used, even if it's fabric scraps. If they can't be sold, they just go in a big box to be shredded and made into moving blankets and things like that. So just grab the whole thing. We had a name for them in the fabric business, wadders, W-A-D-D-E-R, meaning you wad it up and throw it in a basket in the closet. I'll get to that something. No, you won't. In the box. Take the pins out first. Don't hurt anybody. But pattern, fabric, everything. Just throw it in there. Get it out of your life. If it does not spark joy, thank you, Marie Kondo. You've really helped a lot of people out. Pick a thing up. What do you feel the minute you hold it? Excitement? You still want to make something with it? Or what did I spend money on this for? Holding on to it is not going to bring back the money, and it's not going to make you use it. In the box. Okay, I could go on and on with this, but you see what I'm saying?
Well, as a disclaimer to our audience, I will be following none of this advice. I will continue my aspirational hoarding because it's all very curated, and if I ever get into sewing, it's nice to have all that shit on hand, and I have the space to do it. Also, I didn't spend money on basically any of it.
That's the key, Ray. You've got the space. You've got the space. It didn't cost you anything. There's nothing in your stash that's junk. I've looked at your stash a lot. I've mined it for things. A lot of it's my old stash, so the fact that you have space to store it and have an actual sewing room is...
I'm just really bad about using the room, which makes it feel... I just don't get to stuff for years at a time because I'm just not getting in there. So it's there is definitely a counterpoint to this. All of this is all very good, purging energy, but some of us are just going to stubbornly continue to aspirationally hoard good shit.
Now that is okay. The people that I'm really talking to are the people that feel this vague sort of unease when they look at their stuff. They don't get joy out of it at all. It seems oppressive.
We don't want that. Oppressive things need to go.
No, but a lot of times people don't go in their sewing room because it's too much of a mess. It's not organized. It's not... And it really... Sometimes having too much puts a huge damper on creativity, options paralysis, guilt over spending money. So that's who I'm really talking to here. People who have the space, the time, and the money. Oh, please do curate the stuff. Send me your bias tape. No.
I do like the idea about sorting out for colors because I do have so many odds and ends of thread and bias tape. And it's I've never considered sorting out the stuff that I just don't like looking at, because I do have a very visceral
Yes.
sense of color.
Yes.
And like, oh yeah, that is kind of a interesting. I also use a lot of the uglier stuff on like the stuff I'll never see, right? And then I can
Right.
save the stuff that has pretty colors for visible work, but like I have a lot of ridiculous thread that I don't really have space for, and like maybe if I pulled out all those weird olive-ish tones and weird almost browns.
Hey, wait, that's my color palette. Send me the thread.
Okay, I'll sort those out for you. But that's a really interesting thought. I do have things that don't spark joy, and they are because of color reasons.
Most of us sewing machine and sewing culture people do have very strong reactions to color. I can get drunk on color. There isn't a color that I don't. There's some colors, especially these sort of acid fluorescent colors, that hurt my eyes. I just cannot. Any color,
Yeah.
some kind of reds and blues, I really don't like. And these are not just things I don't want to wear. They're things I don't want to look at in my environment.
Right.
I tend towards earth tones and pastels, but right now I'm looking at a Mexican serape that has a lot of really bright, weird colors, but it's mixed in with other colors, so it's exciting. But yeah, look at your sewing room for color. If there's colors that you don't like, get rid of them. Now, you're not wasting. What's a waste is when something's sitting in your sewing room not being used. There's a huge thrift store thing out there. The people want your stuff, not just me wanting your old rust-colored bias tape. Put those put stuff in Ziploc bags neatly labeled if that makes you feel better. But just throw it in the box. There's people at the thrift stores that put things in bags neatly labeled. That's their job. Just get it out of your life. A lot of times we emotionally bond with stuff, but that's another thing Marie Kondo said, was to hold the thing in your hands, think about it, thank it for its service, and return it to the stuff's river, the river of stuff that flows through modern human life. You don't have to keep all of it. Let it go. Boxing Day.
I've also heard a corollary to that. If the spark joy method doesn't work for you, then the inverse of that, or not inverse, but like another way of approaching it is the shit test, which is if there was shit on it, would you wash it off or throw it out?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
If sparks joy is not working for you as a lens, maybe try if it had shit on it, would I wash it or just get rid of it? Like,
Yeah.
fabric obviously is a complicated one, but like this is just a way of turning that question into another lens. That's just a tip I got from the internet.
That's good. Maybe if actual shit doesn't work as a visual for you, maybe something else would, whatever your personal.
Yeah. If the dog ran over it with muddy feet, would you wash it? I don't know, something.
Right. Or if the dog ate it and shat it out, or if it was covered with radioactive debris, whatever.
Well,
But potentially COVID-ated. Dog shit's good. I'm pretty inured to shit, kiddo. You were cloth diapered.
Well, yes. Something disgusting that you don't want. If glitter was on it, would
Glitter.
you? Glitter. Everyone knows the issues with glitter, right? Like, is it worth keeping even if it's been contaminated with glitter?
Glitter's terrible. I was thinking, like, what's the worst thing I've gotten out of my garments? And I'm going to say axle grease out of cars. I mean, it's like, do I even want to bother trying to get this out of this dress, or am I just putting it in the box? So whatever it is in your life, fabric, notions, the sewing machine that never worked right, that you paid $279 for at Walmart, put it in the box. There's plenty of really good vintage machines out there that want to come home with you. Ask us. We know. There's plenty. The vintage machine thing is huge. Get rid of that plastic machine. Get rid of the dull scissors. Get rid of the fluorescent green bias tape and stay threaded. Happy New Year!
And there you have it. some different strategies on how to keep the materials in your sewing room sparking joy and flowing with your creative energy instead of against it. We hope you enjoyed our takes on what deserved to go in the box and feel empowered to find new excitement in your sewing life. This was also our final episode of Season 1 of our Mother-Daughter Sewing Machine Culture and History podcast. Over this season, we have talked about how sewing machines were invented, how they were sold, how their use changed and was changed by the larger societies they existed in, and how their decline was anything but inevitable. We learned a bit about TR's personal history with sewing and with machine retail, and heard stories of customers who are almost certainly never going to hear this podcast. But oh my God, if you do recognize yourself in one of these stories, please let us know. We've also talked a bit about how fast fashion is both a cause and an effect of planned obsolescence, and what we can do about it as individuals with limited resources. Next season, we are going to continue with our 3 pillars of topics: tales of sales, sewing machine history, and combating fast fashion. We'll be making a greater effort to expand our audience reach, honing our style and skill as podcasters, and hopefully even going on some field trips to talk with professionals and hobbyists alike about their relationship with sewing machines, sewing culture, and sewing in general. We hope you'll join us for the journey. As a reminder, we are unofficially sponsored by Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends, and also with money at patreon.com/used2sew. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.